that is Education Pe Charcha. And before I just start, I proceed ahead, I would like to articulate or rather convey to all my viewers who are so longingly awaiting today's program to unfold that in fact this is the platform of Vidyadan, which is very much engaged, rather, which is dedicated to the cause of the education across India. It has been propagating education in its own multiple forms, in its myriad ways, and across India, the teachers are being trained, and different educational modules are being dedicated to the cause of the education across India. It has been propagating education in its own multiple forms.
Please go ahead.
And basically, hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so yes, so basically, today in Education Pe Charcha, why I had decided to go ahead with this particular program, it is all because we have got multiple fora, or from where politics are being propagated, politics are being championed, politics is being articulated, and entire polity is more or less submerged in politics. Whereas in case of education, it is absolutely going blank. In the sense, in as much as there are few fora which genuinely champion or advocate the cause of education. So therefore, after having conducted a very important webinar on Thursday, that is day before yesterday, it's an idea like a thunderbolt. It struck me that why not I should take up the cause of education with a extreme sense of zeal and a sense of purpose. And consequently, since I knew one of the top most educationists in the country and across the world, I thought of inviting him for today's program. And before I proceed ahead along with his introduction, I would just like to say, rather assure all of the viewers and even those who will watch this particular proceeding, little later, that today entire world is passing through a cataclysmic crisis, a sort of humongous crisis that has enveloped our polity. And especially in the case of students, they appear to be in the state of ambivalence and uncertainty, not knowing as to how and when the situation will, start brightening up. So in such a situation, when, there is absolute darkness on the horizon, I thought, or rather we thought, on account of some sort of brainstorming, that it was absolutely imperative to dispel that darkness on the horizon and to brighten up the mood of our students, especially those who seem to have lost, especially in such thoughts of anxiety and concerns about how the future will unfold. It has become absolutely incumbent on the part of the educationists, those who really call themselves as intellectuals from the intelligentsia class, to join hands and to see to it that how this gloom which has come to envelop all of us gets dispelled. My dear viewers, today, as I already informed you, we are going to kickstart this innovative special session, wherein I have been privileged to start this particular session with a management guru, the youngest chancellor, chancellors of different universities in India and the world. He is even, at the global forum, he is known as an educationist. He is known as, an evangelist. The man who is a globe trotter, the man who, is an epitome of compassion, and who, is a brand ambassador of Indian education across the globe. He, in fact, was also, a brand ambassador of India in United Nations as well. Dr. Jagannath Patnaik ji. And Dr. Jagannath Patnaik ji, who is the incumbent Vice Chancellor of, in Sikkim, the university. Then, I would like to say something before I bring him. I invite him to come on the on dais, and just to give his start begin or kickstart our session. It would not behove us to just straight away request him to come, because he is a man whom, just to correlate his overall achievements, it becomes absolutely imperative for me to quote something from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, because quoting Bhagavad Gita becomes very, very important here. So just to describe him, describe his qualities that he personifies. Yad 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 ak, yad yad akrati sreshthas tat tat avataro jana so tat sa tat tat parmanam kurute lokas tad anubrate. This means that whenever a man in his own exceptional manner, when he becomes a paradigm for the society to follow in his glorious footsteps, the way through his exalted deeds and his very elevated karmas, his sublime achievement, sublime nature, he inspires the multitude to follow in his glorious footsteps. That becomes, Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he becomes an idol for the masses. He becomes an icon for the masses. And Dr. Jagannath Patnaik Sahab is indeed the icon as per the description, as it is encapsulated in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which has come from the holy mouth of Sri Krishna, the very quote of Bhagavad Gita, which I just quoted to all of you. And along with this, one more important incident just comes readily to my mind. In 2006, while delivering a historic speech in Pune, the former statesman Prime Minister of India, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, while describing, it was the birth, centenary celebration of one of the greatest man of this country. So Atalji said, that particular man, the icon, about describing about that icon, he said that, the concerned icon was an ocean, and he was just like a drop of water. Likewise, when I talk about Dr. Jagannath Patnaik Sahab, he is simply like an ocean. And from that ocean today, it has got to be some sort of churning out, where all of us from every nook and corner of this country and across the world, can take out some drops of water from today's nectar of discussion that is going to follow with one of the, genius, in the field of education. And, just to talk a little bit more about his achievements, because it becomes absolutely important to talk about, this is the business world which describes him in such sentences, which is very imperative, absolutely sine qua non to quote from business world. He is best known as a globe-trotter. He an erudite, compassionate vanguard, and a multifaceted genius in the in this part of the world. He is associated with several multifaceted organizations like International Organizations for Educational Development of the World Human Rights Council, Confederation of Education Excellence, etc. Dr. Jagannath Patnaik ji, it would not be an overstatement to say that 4 Patnaiks which have brought glory to Odisha across India and the world, among all the 4 Patnaiks, those who bear the surname of Patnaiks, like Sri Biju Patnaik, genius, then Sri J.B. Patnaik, both of them are no more with us. Now the contemporary Sri Naveen Patnaik ji, and last but not least, that is our own Dr. Jagannath Patnaik ji, whose name too resonate with all the intelligentsia as well as the masses, because he is the man of the masses in the field of education, a brand ambassador of education. He had his BCom from Odisha, from Sambalpur University. Then he had done his masters here in both public administration, as well as he pursued journalism in America in the Institute of in the California University, he had done his journalism from. And later on, he had pursued the doctorate in philosophy and so many subjects. If I start describing him now, possibly it would take the so many hours together, which would not do justice. So today we are going to discuss with we are going to know about the management guru. We are going he is going to unfold future for this nation and the world, as well as a visionary evangelist, because the man seeing whom we feel like becoming like him. That is the the definition, connotation of the word evangelist. So now it is a time for, and one more thing I would like to say about his books. He has written so many important books like Higher Education on Information Age, Private Initiatives on Higher Education, and Financing on Higher Education in India, Vivek Management Model for Industrial Productivity and Profits. So these are, and many more, they are the the very important books he has written for the world community. And some of the awards too, because he has got many awards, but I would just like to articulate only few of them, because he has got multiple awards. So he was basically awarded with Sadbhavna Award in the year 2013, Swachh Bharat Award 2015, Cute Award 2015, and Youth Leadership Award 2014, World Human Rights Educators Award in 2002, and Utkal Samman Award 2013, Kalinga Samman 2015, blah, blah, blah. So this is the man, just to straitjacket him into a particular definition is, tantamount to doing injustice to his persona, because he is an education leader of the world, a management guru, very much in line with that of C.K. Prahlad. Let's C.K. Prahlad. He is a pride of India, an icon of the world community. I welcome Dr. Sri Jagannath Patnaik ji. Please, Dr. Saab, it is time for you now to adorn our dais and just to interact with me. Please, sir. Dr. Sri Jagannath Patnaik Saab now.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, I welcome you now, to our audience. It's so nice that, today we have got. Thank you, sir. Sir, it is a pleasure to have you here, because, you are the fewest of you management guru, as I already dubbed you. And in course of the conversation, I had already made it apparent to you that I rate you no lesser, even, at par, even little bigger than that of C.K. Prahlad Saab. And our audience would like to know, before we go further, sir, what exactly is, in the layman's term, is the connotation, the significance of this particular honorific moniker, that is management guru? Please, sir, kindly explain it in your own words from the layman's perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Jha. You have elaborated in large about me. And also I thank the Vidyadan organizations to bring such live discussion sessions on different topics. And as you said, how about this prolific nature of a human being becomes so important in life. See, to me, or to my journey, in short, I would like to state that my life has two secrets. One is confidence, second is talents. I always consider the talents and your confidence together can make anybody a successful management guru. Only by education you can't get a chance to become an expert. When you think about whoever became a management guru or a prolific industrialist in the world, today they have no education. To me, education is not everything, but one has to bring their own attitude of success, own thinking of success, and own believing of success, and to understand what is the meaning of yes. So yes can take you to every places. But nowadays, when you talk about a manager, he doesn't know his work. He does not know his responsibilities. He doesn't know where he is going, what is his direction. Manager means how to manage things happen. And who can make things happen? A person with yes or a positivity. When you say no as being a manager, then you are not a management guru, nor you are a manager. So this is how I have learned from my guru, His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who taught me the management and who taught me the confidence level in your life. So that is how a journey takes you to the height. See, I have never thought of to become success. Success comes when you are confident. Then only your things become successful. Success again comes when you are positive. Positive thinking can bring you like a miraculous things happening in your life. The miracle is your intuition, your power within, then only you can achieve any goals in your life. Today, many managements experts have failed. Indian educations have failed. They don't have any direction how to make management gurus or how to make management experts. Today we talk about theoretical education. We leave aside the practical education. We leave aside the action learning education. We leave aside the industrial based education because these are the relevant needs to the industries. If you do not connect yourself to the industries about your management, then only you are bringing zero level efficiency in your education. As my opinion to business education is only when you are having a case study approach in your life, and if you know how to ask about the words of why, when, where, and what, then only you understand the education. You analyze what is exactly the management education, and you analyze about yourself whether you are going into the right directions or wrong directions. So your directions of change can only bring through your own level of efficiency, own level of confidence, own level of positivity, own level of your oneness, that yes, I can achieve, I can win. Then definitely you can bring to your life a change within and change to outside. So this is what I bring my journey in life, thinking all the time positivity, and I have not done the word no. I have always said everything yes, and I have achieved it to its the best imaginations I had. Is I
Thank
will
you. Uh, Thank you, sir. Actually, as you said, yes, I can achieve. I recall that I am an author of Yes, I Can Achieve, and I had the privilege of sending the book to you in the year 2011, where I got a note of appreciation from your end. Thank you, sir. Now, as you said this, when you provided this explanation to me, quotation of Mr. Rusi Modi, you would recall he was one of the topmost, corporate leaders in the country. He had given a particular statement, I recall, and I'm just trying to quote him in the very context of the explanation that you furnished just now. He said that those who are qualifying from Indian Institute of Management, they cannot even manage a small shop where the question of their managing an industry arises. So when you say all that, I just recollected the very important quotation. Sir, how do you see Rishi Modi's statement in the very context of your explanation of the scenario, which you just explained now?
You can see the qualification of Dhirubhai Ambani. You can see the qualification of Ratan Tata. You can see the education of all the great leaders in industry. They don't have qualifications. But what they have is the talents, and your talents can lead to success. So, as you said, Rishi Modi, what he said is a management education is how you learn yourself in any areas of operation, whether it is production, whether it is marketing, whether it is operations, whether it is personal management, whether it is finance, you are a master of all. Once you become a master of all, you don't require any qualifications. Qualification is just an ornament, but your mastery in all these areas of operations is the great success. So today, all the management, you can say the top level industrialist or the top level management gurus, they have achieved everything with their own talents. And talents is not that you just achieve by education, but it is just you achieve from within. Your presence of mind, your thinking level, how you have to go, how you have to think, how you have to do, and how you have to perform. These are more important things about your management. See, I have worked with the Manipal group. When I was registrar of the Manipal University in Sikkim, my boss is to say, don't bring problems to me, come with a solution. So that is how he taught us. But nowadays, people come with problems. People come with excuses. That is why we fail. We are not coming out with solutions because we have all the resources to be a total solutions provider, but we are not using it. We are using only 10% of it. 90% we are absent because of stress, strain, and other issues. Today, people think about that they are working for money, they're working for salary. That is how they think. And they are thinking how much I can get more increments, more enhancement of salary. They don't think about the industries, how they have to perform in that, what results they can bring, what target they can bring. There is no thinking about that. See, what happens, as you said, Vivek management model of productivity of success. What is Vivek management? Is the wisdom management, is the apnapan. The moment you come with the apnapan in any business organization, thinking that this is my organizations, then definitely anyone can become a management expert, management guru, or a top level industrialist. And that what is absent in these days. People are more greedy about their money. They're not greedy about how they can achieve the targets, how they can provide results in the organizations, and what best they can make, the best solution they can give, best advice they can give. They're forgetting themselves. So to me, one have to be a big guru only when he thinks about the organizations, about the nations, about how he can bring the economic conditions in order for the entire nation. Because our economic conditions are failing only because we are not giving time. We are not giving the proper solutions. We are just thinking we are working and we'll pass our time like this and get our money, get our promotions like that. So this is what is our Indian educations is teaching us. That is why most of the students or 60% of the brains are going abroad for studies or for employment purposes, because they think that their use of their skills is not important here, and because of theory in the education system, and whereas the practical educations or practical lessons are provided in the foreign universities. See, in the ICAI system where I'm working currently, we are providing a case study research method to all our students. So the idea of providing such a study, case study, is to bring them into the darkness, to the light, so that they understand better about what the industry needs, what the country needs, and how they can perform good in their life and to succeed the entire industrial system or entire organizational systems to achieve the goals. This is what I think about the great management gurus or the people with great achievements they have in their life.
Sir, you have just harped on hard work, because you say that mere theoretical knowledge is not a prerequisite to success. In fact, on the other hand, it is the sort of acquaintance and familiarity with a work-related scenario that alone brings the best of us. So, sir, in this context, what our honorable Prime Minister says about, we need more hardworking than the people from Harvard. So how do you reconcile or rather interpret the honorable Prime Minister's statement in the light of your own, elucidation of the real life scenario, sir?
Our honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, has brought Skilling India. The whole idea of bringing Skilling India is to make everybody self-understand the growth of their own self. Be an employment giver, not a seeker. That is the whole idea of our Narendra Modi. The idea of Skilling India is to make yourself ready for startup, ready for stand-up alone schemes, is to bring a change in the educational system. Today we have NEP 2020. The whole idea of NEP 2020 is to provide from the class 1 vocational education. The moment you provide a vocational education, a mind is trained from day one of your schooling. So you understand the vocational educations better equipped when you are at a graduation level or a PG level and you are ready for the job. Today, industry needs ready for skill, ready for the industry. Industry doesn't have time to train you. Industry wants that what results you can give them. So the Prime Minister vision to bring India change through Scaling India is now very important milestones for everyone to understand what is the requirement in education is talents. Not only education, but talents. Talents through skill education can only make you a successful leader in the country or in your own areas of profession. This is how I believe that, as per my opinion is concerned, the business education through skilling is very important for any well-educated person to understand well about their education.
But sir, sorry to counter you here, though at the very conceptual level, this skilling India and all that appears really a very very sophisticated or a luxurious term. But when it has come to be translated into reality, we haven't seen much of industrialization. On the other hand, our GDP has gone down. Industries are not functioning well. There is an absolute economy has gone down. Everything is in decline. Even if we keep aside this COVID scenario, even prior to COVID's entry into our polity, the situation was not looking good. It was absolutely, people were in somber mood. So why Skilling India failed to deliver the good? Because we have not seen any tangible improvement of neither of the living standard of the people, nor economy showing any positive trend. Your take on this, sir?
It's like this: lack of awareness and dignity of labor. These two things are actually not helping these Skilling India initiatives. See, people think that if I become a highly skilled, highly educated with MBA or BBA or whatever may be, the engineering or pharmacy, whatever may be. But when you talk about the industry needs or the employment needs, the Skilling India is really helpful. People are doing the Skilling India work in the rural development areas, in the public sectors, in the village areas level. They're doing successful work in this. But thing is that at an urban level, this is actually not acceptable fact. People are thinking that it's a dignity of labor. They think that if I become a skilled person in, say, ICAI technicians or electrical plumbing, all these things, it is very much getting my dignity at stake. You see, if you go to any abroad countries, the plumber, the electricians, they're getting more salary than any other educated persons. So this is the awareness problem, that we are not able to make complete awareness, or the ministry has not given maximum time to create awareness on this Skilling India. But I think in the near future, the Skilling India, what we have brought about the NEP 2020 will bring a change in the mind of the students with the parents, that skilling is the only key to succeed, not the education. So Skilling India will definitely work at its highest peak once the awareness starts coming from the class 1 to PG level. Yes, Dr. Jha.
Okay, sir. So basically, you say your emphasis is on skilling India. I take it at the face value, but then the sort of disparity. Previously there was a division between haves and have-nots, but today we see, especially COVID had taught us that when the education has become online through the virtual platform, we have seen so many multiple problems cropping up because of this social disparity, glaring social disparity. Now already there is a stark division between the urban and the rural India. The sort of income, the difference between the difference in income groups and all that. There are students who cannot even afford mobile. Where is the question of their advancing into the life, especially from all these online materials available in galore, available in abundance. So basically, what exactly, in the COVID, keeping in view this COVID crisis, the humongous crisis that has engulfed us, and where the online system is becoming more and more important, how to bridge this particular difference between the rural and urban India, and most importantly, between the haves and have-nots that are growing up since from the very beginning of their lives, because there is a group who can afford online education because they have sufficient income, whereas there are groups who have no income at all, and they are pushed to study in the government school where the teachers are least trained. They are technical Luddites. So how do you think of bridging this fundamental difference? Because, to promote egalitarianism, which has been your mindset, which has been your noble endeavor, as I decipher it from your, from your background, from your CV and all that, from your so much vast experience, how to bridge this difference? Should the government be the lone stakeholder, or should there be so many stakeholders coming together to make the society more egalitarian in its very contour? Your take on this?
Today, the scenario has changed. When you talk about the digital education, see, we were talking about digital transformation since 2014, when our Narendra Modi government came into existence. So this digital transformation has really changed every minds of the youngsters. Today, the people are more productivity in the online system of education than the offline education. Offline educations, to me, where I have come across, from last 30 years in the education sector, the students are not very much focused. They used to chit chat, they used to sit elsewhere, and they are not concentrated on their studies. But now each and every one is more concentrated on their studies, whether it is online, whether it is offline. But in the online educations, what I have seen them, they are more productivity from earlier. They used to have 4 hours a day in the class. Now they are sitting almost 9 to 10 hours a day online mode. That is how they are more productivity, more disciplined, and more focused. We should not say that this pandemic has made these educations into a different kind of a story. It has changed the life of the youngster. And the characters have almost changed because the end of education is character. Now you see every students have a total changed in their characters, in their lifestyles, and the positivity while they stay at home with their parents, with their siblings, or with their cousins. So today, if you see that the current scenario, to my opinion, is more gaining knowledge through the digital transformation than what was happening in the school, colleges, in the campus. The campus life has totally changed. When you are at campus, you must be knowing about this, how the students behave. There is no guru, shishya parampara, no student or teacher's relationship. They feel that the teachers are their friends. But now if you see the current, there is a lot of change in the life, the discipline of the students, and the real life, how they are focused in the studies. Even in the skill program, the assignment-based learning or case study learning is also helps them. Apollo Med Skills is doing case study learning. So this is how, everything is a case study. Even if you go to Australian universities, when the medical doctors, they are trained through online mode, how to operate a patient. I personally have seen it. So this online actually has changed millions of life, and it's easy to get exchange of faculty from different parts of the world. You can get any number of faculty just in a minutes. This is how people are easily accessible in this online mode, and it is easy to grasp the knowledge from others, those who are already running industries, or those who are in the organizations, those who are in the higher educational institutions. They're all in the online platform today. So, see, that is why it was known as digital transformation. So to transform the mind through digital method, this was the concept plan of the entire world, you can say. Even the IT companies are able to achieve the targets because, as I told you, everyone is focused. The targets are achieved. The profits have increased. The productivity level have increased. So all this together, it's a successful method, whether the skilling is a part of online or whether the education is part of online, everything is a successful exercise, because after all, you have to do all practical exercises. That gives you the hands-on experience, the knowledge, because knowledge combined with your practical skills gives you the highest level of understanding. Sometimes theory-based education only can show someone the direction, but how to work in the theory path or the throny path, it depends on individual talents and skill. So this digital transformation has somehow gathered the knowledge with full resources. And I will thank the Government of India or the Narendra Modi government for the successful drive in skilling education and the vision for digital transformation. And I know this will continue till 2025. And this pandemic is not going to be over till then, because we have 128 crores populations which needs to be vaccinated. So it will take time, and we have to be ready for these online educations and we should be ready with the laptops, with the digital क्या बोलते हैं, digital slates or whatever maybe. So the teachers should be ready to accept this change. The students should be ready to accept the change, to understand more better, and then only the experience gained through this digital transmission can only happen. And today, most of the universities, most of the organizations, most of the business organizations also understood the digital transformation. And also most of the IT companies are also working from home. And this is how everyone is a successful person now. And whatever the organization wants, it happens on time. Yes, Dr.
Okay.
Jha.
Okay. So one question arises in the mind. You have beautifully explained about the importance and necessity of digitalization in this 21st century. And even from the perspective of our country, country aspiring to be a superpower, of course, the digital revolution was in the order of the day, and which you claim, or rather which you emphasize, that our Honorable Prime Minister has initiated that particular move. To whatever extent we have gone, that is still to be taken to be assessed. But nevertheless, a sort of move is definitely on the horizon. But don't you think, while on one hand, this so-called digital revolution is empowering a particular section of people who are more fortunate, who are at the higher level of the pyramid, social pyramid, whereas those who are at the bottom of the social pyramid, they become almost more neglected, because they are struggling with the basics, even with the living existential requirements. How can we think of justifying their education and their coming at a pace, or coming abreast with all this sort of technological revolution that is happening on a platter? So that my question remains, sir. How do we bridge this ever widening gap between the digitally educated people, whereas non-digitally educated people? What measure you suggest for this? Remedial measure you suggest for this?
See, the government of India has brought a lot of change in the telecommunication system. You see, before 95, there was nothing. There was no mobile phones. Only we have to listen to radio or televisions, whatever. But now, the digital transformation or the telecommunication has reached each and every villages and urban places. Today, everyone is having an Android phone. Government is also encouraging to provide them laptops, palm tops, whatever may be. And everybody is better trained digitally to challenge this crisis. Today, go to any poor children houses. Even a small child is also having a mobile Android phone. A small child has trained how to work in Android phone. Rather, we do not know that. They can tell you better. So it is by birth they have come with the digital mode to me. So this is how the change has come in the mind of the people, that we have to depend basically on digital. I totally agree with you what you said, your point. See, but the changes always bring change in people. We are talking about our time. We are thinking the digital system is going to make fun of the government schemes. But it is giving us the complete resources. Now, if you want to do research, if you want to do any assignments of the college, even the school assignments, you have Google resources. You have all kind of resources available at your palm top. You have all lessons available in your palm top. Even you don't need to go to shop to buy a book or research book. So when everything is available to you at your fingertips, what is the need? So today, every children, whether he's newborn, whether he has come out successfully in his life, every youth has trained themselves the digital way of living. Now this life is a digital life. It's not the mechanical life or the life which we had in the past. So today, it's a great change in the minds of the people that we have to be digitally assessed, digitally experienced, and digitally managed. Then only we can see certain set of skills in our own life.
Sir, I would, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, sir. Please. Sir, actually, I just wanted to know, sir, you please finish it first, please. Sorry for interruption.
I just said it depends upon the family backgrounds, whether you have a Android phone or not. But the government is very much helping them to get Android phone in their house, so that every children should get digital educations at the doorstep. Even sometimes you must have seen the Sky bus also going there, giving them the transmissions facility so that they can access to the educations at the doorstep.
Sir, with a digital revolution, because you are emphasizing on, or rather I would say that very justly, because as it is being visible, so obviously there is too much emphasis on digital transformation or digital revolution. So given the fact that henceforth, even whether the COVID stays for a longer period of time or even if it ceases to exist, the focus would be on digital education. There is no denying the fact. So keeping in view the digital revolution that world is already going through, don't you think that only mere 3.1% of the GDP allocation to the education sector is absolutely a peanut? Because we need to cope with the advancing China, which is not having a very good intention on us. So we have to consider from the research and development perspective as well. So keeping all these important factors, just mere 3.1% of budgetary allocation is a mere, it is a very, very infinitesimal amount of proportion of union budget to the education sector. Your take on this, sir?
You see why budget is less in higher education sector. The entire budget is going for the secondary education sector. And since the higher education became privatized, with most of the industries became a partner to the higher educational systems. So the budgetary allocation is less. So it's not that the budgetary allocation is less, it is only because it's a privatization of higher education. Education is a fundamental rights. It's a free rights for every citizens of the country. But what happens now, education become more costly. People started self-sustaining courses or self-financing courses. Even most of the government industries have also started self-financing courses. So on the basis of your budget coming to the university is higher than what the government was providing. So considering all these private sectors receiving the fee structures is higher than the budget value. Isn't it? So
right.
likewise, so it is not less. To me, it is now much higher than whatever the government budget in the past. And education is doing a better experiment now in the private sector. whatever was happening in the traditional system with the government universities, it is totally changed now. And students are now keen to go to private universities or private colleges for their higher education. And that's a change, because even if the government provides budget in higher education sector with the government universities, then if the students will not go there, then what is the use of higher education budget? So since government wants to focus on the secondary education, because that is the root level of education, so they should get more funds than the higher education sector. That
Thank
is
you,
how
sir.
most of the university in the world, they're self-financing university, then depending upon the state or government budgets. Yes.
So now, actually, I would have a question. In fact, most of the viewers who are watching this particular proceeding, they also would like to know that C.K. Prahlad, one of the greatest management gurus world had ever seen, and you are also our pride in terms of attaining that particular level. Yes, sir, if you could recall, C.K. Prahlad Sahab had written a fantastic book, The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. And once that particular book came in public domain, the corporate world was the first stakeholder or votary that sought to capitalize on that particular book, especially when the researched version was very much encapsulated in that particular book, that how the corporate can expand its footprints across the rural sector by selling it in sachet, like cosmetic products in sachet. And of course, many of the corporate giants like Hindustan Lever and all that, they went on making a kill out of that particular suggestion or advice, which was incorporated in that great classic. Sir, I would like to know that how in contemporary times, because people like C.K. Prahlad are no more, since you are our hope, beacon of hope, an icon for the nation, especially our education, we look up to people like you. So do you think that we have such management thinkers, management gurus, who can also visualize for the future? Because I recall one of my own very, some patron like Dr. Sri Jain Sahab, Deepak Jain Sahab, who was the dean of America as well as Europe and Asia. He, in course of one of his lectures, was saying that when he was sick, he, along with one of the topmost management gurus, were discussing on this fundamental, and he said that we thought of visualizing 500 years hence. So I would like to know from one of the same category of erudite management gurus, that why not today's management thinkers or management gurus come up with such a book, which too have almost the same implications, which can revolutionize the corporate, not only the corporate world, but also the general mass, and can contribute to their elevation in the social hierarchy. Your take on this, sir?
See, success lies within, or future is your own destiny. So even if the successful visionaries or the top management gurus teaches us, it is nothing going to achieve among ourselves. Unless and otherwise we understand what for we are born, and why we are born, and what is our destiny, and how we should fulfill our goals to reach to that destiny, then definitely one can be a future guru, or you can understand your future success in your life. Today, most of us do not understand our own resources within. The moment you start understanding your research means to research yourself, why you are born, then you are a future guru. You can bring the future destiny. You can bring the success in the industry. As I told you, unless and otherwise, if you don't think about yourself, about you, or to do research yourself, there is nothing but whatever you listen from others, people start telling, oh yes, I know it. So the idea of I know it or I know does not make you a successful leader. Always a leader is a leader when he understands himself or he understands his life or he knows what is his destination. Then definitely a person can be successful and can be a visionary and can bring knowledge. You must have seen a 13 years old boy is a scientist. A 16-year-old boy has become a scientist, brought innovation. So that is how one brings a change in themselves. Everyone has innovation ideas, but we do not realize that goals. We always follow others, what others is teaching us, what I can learn from others. Why not you learn yourself? I always advise my students that don't depend upon your teachers. Always try to ask your questions yourself. Then you can write better. But today, everyone wants to copy book and write examinations. This is how we are failing in our system. So slowly this system is getting changed now. Students are more dependent now themselves. They want freedom. They want success. They want to become big. They want to think big to accomplish more. So these ideas have been constant in the minds of each students. And what they should see is the dream of every big people. As you said, Sikkim Prahlad, they should also understand the story of Sikkim Prahlad. They should understand the story of Narayan Murthy, Tata, Ratan Tata, Dhirubhai Ambani. Then their aim will be high like that. Otherwise, getting lessons from visionaries or great thinkers or motivational guru will not help them at all. This is my opinion. You may differ on this, but I think one has to bring their own resources within to achieve their goals.
Right, sir. What you said, actually, I was just thinking at the very moment, this my thinking was coinciding with your own version. So great Swami Vivekananda had already said, already defined education as the manifestation of perfection already within man. So what you have said is nothing but the interpretation of Swami Vivekananda to discover, to go for soul searching and to discover the best in oneself. Sir, one thing, because we are almost coming to an end. Sir, one very important fact I will means your take on this, that now COVID, we are very much in the midst of COVID, and by the grace of divine, we are getting multiple versions, myriad versions, that as to what exactly, how the future will unfold. You have already prima facie laid an emphasis on this point, that whether COVID stays or it vanishes, but virtual platform, that is online system, now will continue to dominate. So one thing I would like to know, because being a leader, educational leader, not only of ICAI, but of the entire nation, because you are the Vice Chancellor of Kalinga University, one of the most populated universities of the country, most highly populated universities of this country. And most of the other institutes you even taught abroad. And you are bringing with yourself both the foreign learning as well as blending it or mingling with the indigenous learning. So during COVID and after the passage of COVID, what would you like to suggest to the students community, how they should gear up to cope with this? Because there is a sense of pessimism everywhere. So how do you dispel this sense of pessimism and bring a sense of, inject a sense of optimism in the minds of vast sections of students who are becoming directionless today, because there doesn't happen to be any light on the horizon? So what would be your message to such students? Because in fact, that is a majority students who are just lying helpless today. Sir, your message for all those students, vast section of students across India and abroad.
See, first thing, to maintain optimistic, we have to understand that this COVID situation is 90% fear and 10% is what is really disease. People die because of fear. It's not that people die because of COVID. We do not talk about good things in the media. So what we have to follow is to be aware of the good things in your life. Push yourself to do more each day. Don't take the information, flood it in your mind, because those things will bring negativity. Surround yourself with positive people. Don't listen to negative news or media or gossip. Start meditating every day so that all your thoughts will be driven out. Try not to expect results and always focus what you get to instead of what you have to do. Practice dealing with rejections. These are most important things in your life. And do not get frightened or shocked with the near and dear deaths. Just think that you are living and let live, the Buddhism theory. And let us not see others, what they talk, what they say, or what they write. Let's only analyze ourselves that I am living and be positive at all times. That is how you can bring success in your life, in your educations, and in your goals to reach higher levels. Today, we can only do things when we are aware of good things in our life. Otherwise, your life is a big zero and you can't become hero. Thank you.
So, viewers, today we have had a wonderful session. The session which was where the enlightened opinion of the management guru, world-renowned management guru, a visionary evangelist, Dr. Sri Jagannath Patnaik ji was trying to enlighten all of us in this education pe charcha with me, that is Vivekanand Jha. You could hear his versions. In fact, I have got so many questions and that will take hours and hours, because I was not talking to a pedestrian mind. I was talking to a highly enlightened man. In fact, we had scheduled this highly intellectual interaction, at 7 p.m. But because of Vice Honorable Vice Chancellor Sahab, that is Dr. Sri Jagannath Patnaik ji's, immediate necessity to attend to a board's meeting, we just had to prepone it, because we wanted the entire, the students community who are absolutely in a state of distress today, that they needed to be uplifted. They needed to be, raised from their somber mood, and they can view the future with a sense of optimism. This is the education pe charcha, which will continue. And, today we started, and it was a divine grace that such a man, an embodiment, an epitome, a personification of multiple talents. So that is, you can say, multi-faceted talent, had honored us by his gracious, conspicuous presence. So it was really an electrifying conversation. So I have no words. My stock of vocabulary would fall short to describe the degree and the magnitude of your erudition that you try to share with our vast viewers and those who will still view this particular video. I have no words to express my thanks to you, sir. And I assure my viewers that today, as we kick-started with such a doyen of education, a genius, we will continue with it every Saturday at the same time on Education Pe Charcha, because we don't have many, good number of people coming down to teach the student community as to what education is all about. So here we have started this session with an educational leader, who who is having an experience of almost more than 3 decades to his kitty, and his credentials is so very big. I would like to say one sentence, in this very context. When Swami Vivekananda had gone to America, to address the World Parliament of Religions in Columbus Hall, Chicago, he landed up at Boston, because at that point in time, there was huge gap, an interregnum between the time he reached America and the Parliament of World Religions was to be held. So one day, feeling famished, hungry, he was knocking at every door and none came to his help. He resigned himself to God and was sitting in a park. A lady came and took him to her house. When her husband came, who was a professor of Harvard, Professor Wright, he had an argument, discussion with Swami Vivekananda for hours together on Upanishadic concept and the term zero. And later when Swami Vivekananda said that, sir, please give me a credential to participate in the World Parliament of Religions, that professor said, Swami, to ask you for your credentials is like asking the sun about his right to sign. That is what Dr. Jagannath Patnaik ji is all about. Today he had given only 0.5% of what he has. We could not extract more, sir. Alas, we could have had more time to interact with you, so our viewers could have more and more been benefited. We'll definitely love to invite you some other time. Thank you, sir. With my head bowed down, I express my deepest thanks on behalf of Vidyadan for your invaluable time. And I thank Vidyadan for this platform, for continuation of my program, Education Pe Charcha, on every weekend that is on Saturday. And my thanks to all the viewers from across the world. We'll continue to illuminate and enlighten you, on every Saturday and with many, many other programs. Thank you. Thanks to all my stakeholders. Thanks to Dr. Jagannath Sahib. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Thanks.